Je vous en prie. La séance est ouverte. Bonjour chers collègues, mesdames et messieurs, bonjour. Je nous invite à observer 1 minute de méditation ou de prière. Amen. Merci. Monsieur le secrétaire général, veuillez procéder à l'appel nominal des députés.
Honorable Tunis Sidi Mohamed, Honorable Wassé Ahmed Idriss, Honorable Sani Malam Shaibou Boukari, Honorable Ibrahima Mimounatou, Honorable Pinto Adjasatou Kamara, Honorable Abiante Dagomi Awadji Inobek, Honorable Abdulaziz Ayaba Moussa, Honorable Adamou Abdou, Honorable Adeyemi Smart, Honorable Adou Johnson Kwaku, Honorable Afenyo Martin Alexander Kwame, Honorable Agbanda Okuno Nao, Honorable Ayin Samson, Honorable Aka Hervé, Honorable Akwashiki Godia, Honorable Alimikena Francis Asikame, Honorable Alipui Sinanu Koku, Honorable Ameya Ochereme Kwasi, Honorable Asineme, Honorable Auyo Ibrahim Usman, Honorable Ayamba Ladi Ayi, Honorable Ayariga Mahama, Honorable Ba Cherno Majo, Honorable Bako Nasiru Arifari, Honorable Larabe Silami Abdullahi, Honorable Balogun Adebayo, Honorable Baro Keba K, Honorable Bezra Emmanuel Kwasi, Honorable Bolovi Patrick Kojevisenam, Honorable Borofis Ajayi, Honorable Bukar Fugu, Honorable Boacha Emmanuel, Honorable Khalifa Seidi, Honorable Kamara Karamo, Honorable Chuba Ikpe Azulinda, Honorable Koulibaly Traoré Adjaratu, Honorable Daoudou Bashir, Honorable Darbo Laji S, Honorable Jibo Ali Amadou, Honorable Ego Ogene, Honorable Ezenwa Oyinwochi, Honorable Fanny Musokura Chantal, Honorable Fernandez Alfredo Gabriela, Honorable Gabasawa Nasir Abdoua, Honorable Bocho Monet Marcel, Honorable Gobir Ibrahim, Honorable Idi Ango Ousmane, Honorable Indi Marciani, Honorable Issa Murtala, Honorable Issa Salifu, Honorable Issa Mayaki Ramnatu, Honorable Diallo Samba, Honorable Kaipe Jonathan, Honorable Kamba Abdullahi Umar, Honorable Kolawole Taiwo, Honorable Koninya Gajomo, Honorable Kumwe Rona Kona Rene, Honorable Manlispe Najibola, Honorable Masakwa Clarence Kortu Momolo, Honorable Medegan Fagla Sedami Romarik, Honorable Michelia Haruna, Honorable Mustafa Lekan, Honorable Doye Suleiman, Honorable Ndoume Mohamed Ali, Honorable Ndiaye Fatoumata, Honorable Nubono Azume Hippolyte, Honorable Odebi Tolu, Honorable Ogba Obina, Honorable Okojev Emmanuel, Honorable Olujimi Biodun Christine, Honorable Honor Sandy, Honorable Pereira Diaz Orlando, Honorable Rosa Lopez, Honorable Rosario de Brito Nelson, Honorable Sahabi Alaji Yao, Honorable Saïdou Alkali, Honorable Sako Mamadou, Honorable Salam Bamidele, Honorable Saleh Gabriel Zok, Honorable Sal Ibrahima Baba, Honorable Sama Moussa Chiaka, Honorable Sankara Danladi, Honorable Santos Tavares Carlos Alberto Dos, Honorable Sar Wourai, Honorable Sissé Veronica Kadi, Honorable Sarion Adja Fata, Honorable Snow Junior Edwin Melvin, Honorable Suarez da Costa Issa Filomena Pereira, Honorable Sokling Besenu, Honorable Sila Adama, Honorable Taiwo Oluyemi Adewale, Honorable Tunkara Bileiji, Honorable Umeoji Michael, Honorable Vilan Abdoulaye, Honorable Yusufu Abdurrahmani Bida Noum, Honorable Zargo Stephen G.H. Madame la Présidente, la liste est épuisée.
Merci, Monsieur le Directeur. En application de l'article 71 alinéa 2 de notre règlement intérieur, le Parlement est toujours en nombre pour délibérer et régler son ordre du jour. Il en est ainsi décidé. Chers collègues, conformément au programme de travail de notre session, l'ordre du jour de la séance plénière de ce jour, samedi 25 juin, comprend les points ci-après. En 1, la séance interactive avec
the interactive session on the with partners on the situation of human rights in the region and with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Before beginning the agenda for the day, I must remind that in implementation of the provisions of 13 and 14 of the Supplementary Act, the opinion of the Parliament on the issues, as well as the amendment, if there are any, is transmitted to the Council of Ministers through the ECOWAS within 90 days. If the opinion is not given during this time frame, it is to be considered that, consequently, given the program of the meetings of the community and given the necessity to reconcile the Parliament's calendar and that of the Minister, which begins on the 9th of June, began on the 9th of June, and for decision-making, I would like to propose that in accordance with Article 58 of our Rules of Procedure, a change of the working program of the session as follows. Today, 25th June, from 10 to 12, presentation and adoption at the plenary of the reports of the Permanent Committee, of the Joint Committees and the ad hoc committees, and information reports of the Parliament. From 12 onwards, interactive session with partners on the situation of human rights in the region. Monday, 27 June, a follow-up on the presentation and adoption of the reports of the Commission in plenary. And then you have the AOB and the closing remarks for the session.
Du mardi 28 au
From Tuesday, an free interactive session with the MPs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the holding of the next general elections in Nigeria. From Friday 1st, we will have excursions, and this proposal I would put before you for approval.
D'accord. S'il vous plaît, chers collègues,
Yes, dear
à l'ordre
colleagues,
du jour
in the
de
agenda
ce samedi que je
for
venais de
today
vous
that I
présenter,
just presented
nous
to you,
ajoutons la
we would like
présentation du
to add
rapport
the
pays de la
presentation
Sierra
of
Leone.
the country
Et je
report by
soumets
Sierra
cette
Leone,
proposition
and I
à
would
votre
like to put this before you for approval.
Je n'ai entendu que ce côté applaudir. Là,
Everybody.
donc, chers collègues, avec cette modification, nous abordons l'examen
Our session with the adoption of the draft report here, the localized meeting, the public accounts and financial matters, and the Committee on Agriculture, Environment, Human Water Resources on the tests of the community which it discussed. Number 3, political affairs, peace, legal matters, human rights, gender issues, which it is now being put before them. Now we shall be going into the main thrust of the report, that is the reading of the introduction and the conclusion and the recommendations. For the discussions, I would like to propose that we limit the interventions to 2 minutes. I would like to put this before the plenary for approval. It has thus been decided. Item number 1, I would invite the co-chairs and the co-rapporteurs on public accounts, administration, finances and budget, macroeconomic policies, trade, customs and free movement to present before the plenary the draft report of the joint committee on the delocalized meeting of Lome. Thank you, co-chairs. Co-chairs, you have the floor. Honorable Bida, Honorable Keba Barrow.
Monsieur le Président, vous avez la parole.
Mr. Chairman, you have the floor.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. I have the impression that it's very hot in this room. Could you look into the functioning of the air conditioning?
Pour votre information,
For your information, the air conditioners are not working.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson,
Je voudrais vous remercier
I would like to thank you for
la direction
the way in which the plenary is going on today. And as you said, we are going to be very brief in the presentation
que la plénière
as was approved by the plenary, and we will only read out the introduction
après
and thereafter the recommendations. Dear colleagues,
ici pour vous
we are here to present to you the report
notre réunion
of our delocalized meeting in Lomé
de la commission
of the
bien évidemment,
Joint Committee,
commission
Public Accounts, Administration, Finance and Budget, Macroeconomic Policies, Trade, Customs and Free Movement Committees, which took place in Lomé from the 16th to 20th May 2022 on the topic, the modalities for the practical modalities of the implementation of Articles 9 and 11 of the Supplementary Act of the Parliament regarding the reports of the said community. We had a delocalized meeting in Lomé, the beautiful city, which went very well, and with communications which were excellent enough and which enabled the commissioners of the Joint Committee to draft the report with recommendations which will enable the Parliament to play its full role in the Supplementary Act on the prerogatives of the Parliament. Having said this, Mr. Chairman, I would invite our rapporteur to read out the introduction of item number 1 to item number 6, and thereafter, in accordance with the approval of the plenary, and then she will read the recommendations from 83 to 89, and it would be for you to take the floor for the deliberations and discussions. Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable dear Deputy, you have the floor. With the permission, of course, of the chairperson. You have it. You have my permission.
Thank you very much.
The introduction of our meeting. In accordance with the 2022 program of activities of the ECOWAS Parliament, the delocalized meeting of the Joint Committee, Public Account Administration, Finance and Budget, Microeconomic Policy and Economic Research, Trade, Custom and Free Movement took place from the 16th to the 20th May 2022 at Sarakawa Hotel in Lomé, Republic of Togo. The meeting discussed the theme, the modalities for the practical implementation of Article 9 and 11 of the Supplementary Act of the Parliament in respect of the consideration of the community audit reports. 2. The meeting was co-chaired by Honorable Bida Nou Yusuf Abdurrahmani, Chair of the Committee of the Public Accounts, Honorable Suleiman Doi, Vice Chairman of the Committee on Administration, Finance and Budget, Honorable Keba K. Barrow, Chair of the Committee on Microeconomic Policy of Economic Research, and Honorable Kwasi Ameya, Chairman of the Committee on Trade, Customs and Free Movement of ECOWAS Parliament. Annex is the list of members of the Joint Committee who participated in the meeting. Also in attendance were the ECOWAS Commission, ARAA, PPDU, and 2 experts. 4. Also in attendance were the 5. The report summarizes the presentations and deliberations of the meeting, highlights the key points, and puts forward some recommendations based on the various debates. The opening ceremony. The opening ceremony which was graced with the presence of eminent personalities, featured 4 speeches. Welcome address of Honorable Alipiu Senanu Koku, member of the Togolese delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament. Statement by the chair of the Committee on Public Accounts, Honorable Bida No Yusuf Abdramani of the ECOWAS Parliament. Goodwill message by the Commissioner of Finance, ECOWAS Commission, Mrs. Halima Ahmed. Opening address by the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Republic of Togo, represented by 2 deputy speakers, Honorable Ibrahim Memunatu Then we will continue now with the recommendation, honorable members. The recommendation, we start from paragraph 83. Accordingly, the Joint Committee makes the following recommendations for urgent implementation. The ECOWAS Commission and Parliament should immediately set up an interinstitutional committee to adopt the practical modalities for the implementation of Articles 9 and 11 for the Supplementary Act and Article 24 on the financial regulations. Proposed an amendment to the existing provisions of the Supplementary Act to further enhance Parliament's power in the area of mandatory assent on the community budget and annual audit reports of community institutions and organs. Parliament should immediately organize special capacity building for members of the standing committees on administration, finance and budget, public accounts and staff. Parliament shall examine the annual audit reports of community institutions and organs during its second extraordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament, taking into account the date of its transmission by the Commission. Parliament should set up a technical team headed by a member of the Bureau and composed of staff members to monitor the implementation of the Supplementary Act of the ECOWAS Parliament and ensure the improvement of legislative outcomes. Finally, the Honorable Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament should address a letter to the President of the Commission and to the Auditor General of the ECOWAS institution to remind them of the provision of Article 9 and 11 and the need to proceed with the transmission of community audit reports to Parliament within the required deadlines. I thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. As was decided, this was the succinct reading of our report, and this is what we are submitting. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson of the committee, Mr. Co-Chair. Dear colleagues, discussions are now open. The floor is now open for deliberations. Please remember that we did agree that you wouldn't go beyond 2 minutes for each MP.
Honorable Abdulaziz, vous avez la parole.
Honorable Abdulaziz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. On recommendation 86, that's a very good one, but I would also like to suggest that the capacity building should cover all the committees in this house. Thank you. Not only administration, finance and budget, and public accounts, but it should cover all the committees that we have in the parliament. Thank you so much.
Merci. Honorable
Thank you, Honorable Ayeba. Ayeriga.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The key issue regarding audit and review of audits has to do with assessing the audit reports. And I do not see in the recommendation any clear recommendations regarding how and when members of this parliament should be able to assess the audit reports. So I think that that is something that must be clearly thought through. When the audit reports are presented to this House, they must immediately be transmitted to members of parliament. Some people may not be on the relevant committee, but have the skills and professional competence to review the reports and follow up with the necessary actions. So I think that the issue of MPs assessing the report is key and should be captured. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Mr. Chair, Co-Chair, if you have answers, please. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As regard the first speaker, I believe we have a specific report, and we could at this stage only mention the topic that brought us together in Rome, which was the strengthening of capacity building. The members of the staff that accompanied this committee and the commissioners of these different committees be strengthened. But however, his concern is very pertinent, and I think this is for the Bureau to consider. As for the last concern of our colleague Ayariga on the non-mentioning of the audit report in the recommendations, I believe that we, as at now, is the supplementary act which gives us the prerogative and which was approved in 2016. There has not been a procedure that was defined by the Commission, and that is why you will see that on the 84, we had requested that the committee and the Parliament should immediately set up an institutional committee with a view to adopting the modalities so that this report be sent to us. So that is why we said immediately the Parliament and the Commission and the committee should determine the modalities in order to arrive at your proposal. Later on, we had requested that the Parliament puts in place a follow-up committee for everything that was adopted since 2016. Because beyond this appraisal of the audit reports, there are other prerogatives that the Parliament disposes of, and we did request that another committee be set up to look into all that. This, Madam Chairperson, as at now, what we can respond to the interventions. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Thank you. Mr. Chair, I see another to my left, the Honorable Member from the Gambia. Honorable Tunkara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. There was additional proposal, a recommendation to add to recommendation 86 that it should not be limited to the admin, finance, budget accounts. It should be brought down to the entire membership of the committee. Hence, issue of capacity building is concerned, and that has not been addressed by the co-chairs. would they have time to give us a precision on that? It's a proposal. Thank you.
Merci, chers collègues. Monsieur le co-président.
Madame la Présidente, merci beaucoup. Je pense que peut-être que le collègue n'a pas bien suivi la réponse, mais toutefois, au point...
However, on the item, it is